Okay, sir.
Now in the public, switch off microphone बंद कर लो अपना. So we are designing this. In the private section, we have to keep data. As you see in this diagram, in the private section, you have to keep data. Whereas in public section, you have to keep operations that will be performed on data. Now, can you guess what are the operations? We will put data in feet and inches. So the operation is get data. Int get data or get distance is one function we are going to write. Then we will display this. So int display distance. So these are the two functions. See, the class design is so easy, isn't it? So when we pull this design to our program, Jambodia, and for some explanation, so it says all. No, sorry. So we put our program here. And then this is your private section of the class. This is your public section of the class. We'll declare some object of this. Then from the object, you will be able to access the public section. And then from public section, you will be able to access private section. So from object, you will be able to access get distance function, and get distance function will be able to access feet and inches. Yes, Gaurav?
Sir, can you repeat the process again?
I mean, the access
Object
is
and
from the object to the
yes,
public
yes.
to the private. So if you declare object here, the access will be from object to the public functions, get distance. And from get distance function, you will be able to access feet and inches. But if you try to access feet and inches directly, that is not possible. Okay, so we have designed our class. Fair enough. Now we'll design our main function. Main.c++, CPP, remember the extension. So let us include the header files that we have. Declarations.h, and we have another one that is includes. .h, and then we are going to write our first program in C++, just like C. That is why I started with C. Instead of printf, you will be using cout. We will say function name begin. Function name will come from this macro, and then there is begin, like we've been using this in C also, only the syntax is slightly different. End is a manipulator. Okay. Now in C we have used printf. Could you tell me what was printf? Yes, Sachin?
It was sending data to the output stream.
Yeah, it was. What is it? It can.
I mean, process.
You mean to say you are running a process with a process context in which when you run printf, it is another process within a process?
It's a predefined library function.
Library function. So see, printf was basically a library function, isn't it? Scanf was a library function. So C++, C programs are amalgamation of libraries. Whereas here, cout is also doing the same thing, but printf did. But cout is not a library. See the difference. Cout. It is an object of IOStream class. I told you in C++ everything is class. We have included IOStream.h header file. So cout is an object of IOStream class. Means cout object will access the public member functions of IOStream class. That will further access some data in IOStream class, isn't it? So more about C++ later. Now about this two operators. This is called insertion operator. It will put data from right side to स्टैंडर्ड आउटपुट स्ट्रीम. इसके राइट साइड में क्या है? ये मैक्रो है. मैक्रो से जो भी डेटा आएगा उसे वो स्टैंडर्ड आउटपुट स्ट्रीम में डाल देगा. ठीक है. सो दिस इज योर इंसर्शन ऑपरेटर. Okay, then you have another insertion operator here. Then you have another insertion operator. Three insertion operators. All the three insertion operators do same thing. Take data from right side and put it in standard output stream. This ENDL. It is a manipulator. It, as the name says, manipulates the output. It will end the current line and feed the new line, just like \n. Okay, \n is the escape sequence, right? So this is cout. This is a format string that will be printed as it is. This is a macro that will give you the current function name. And okay. So let us declare our object of this class. The name of the class is distance. Distance. Name of object is say D. दो डिस्टेंस लेंगे, ऐड करेंगे. So let's call distance A and distance B. So what I do is, like second character I always keep capital. There is not a rule, but I keep the second character of the object as capital letter so that I can differentiate between the object and other variables. Then when we'll add these two objects, we'll have the sum of the object and stored somewhere, object sum. So I declared three objects, you know. So these are nothing but objects of the class. Now what do I want to do with this object? Well, I want to add some feed in an object. Now what happens? I declared three objects. What happened? What just happened when you declared three objects? Okay, well, this is what happened. When I declared these three objects, memory was allocated for three objects like this. The first object, and the second object, and the third object. all the three objects have a private section and a public section. All the three objects will be having their own private sections and own public sections. Three objects we have declared, isn't it? Now, the access to these objects. The access to these objects will, the memory that is allocated, will be only through corresponding object. That means this object DA will be able to access its own class. Let me pull it out. Suppose it is. So the object DA will be able to access its own object from here. DB will be able to access its public member function. DS will also be able to access its own public member function. So this is the private section in which you have the private data of this class and the other classes. So we have three classes. All the three classes have their own exclusive private sections. All the three classes will have their own exclusive public section as well. Okay. In the private section of this class, we have kept two data items, and that are int, feet, and float inches. Okay, these two data items in the private section of this class. So that is for object DA, but object DB will have its own set of data, and the object DS will have its own set of data. So with different sets of data, isn't it? And what about public section? Do you have three different public sections? Well, that's a question, isn't it? So this huge question mark on what is the feasibility, what is the benefit of having three different instances of same function in same program. You can have three set of data, fine, but does it make sense to have three different sets of functions? Well, the answer is no. Okay, so we'll have to see how the public section is created and is used by different objects. Okay, and then we will implement that concept here. Like you have done structures, you can access the public member functions here. Get distance like this. DA dot get distance. So we'll call get distance function. You want, so you'll have DA's feet and inches done. Now you can have DB dot get distance. So you will have the DB objects feet and inches done. How it will be done, that we'll see in our next session.